I think the most valuable thing is communication skills and language skills, because I find that really important in like any jobs that I need to do in the future or like nowadays. So like sometimes when I need to speak with students or my colleagues, I need to use like English skills and also like some presentation skills, which I think is really helpful. And also since I may need to interact with students from different countries, so knowing more languages is really helpful.
For me, because I was lucky that I was able to choose like a marketing course that was really directly related to what I'm doing now. So for e-commerce and also advertising, I did take a course which the professor had a lot of case studies for us about the real world. So it was less theoretical and more like practical and applicable. So with that knowledge, I went for interviews at many different places and eventually landed this current e-commerce role that I'm doing.
Group work, even though we have group work at school, but I think since me and my classmates are too independent, so we often do our own parts and then combine it at the end, so which I think is not really helpful for the real life job situation, as we often need to collaborate with different people.
For transitioning into the workplace, usually there's a lot of things that is unrelated to what the textbook teaches. So for that, definitely I think CEDARS has quite a really good support system for students. So if there were more opportunities like, job fairs and things like that, or even skills about writing like resumes, and also interview questions, like help to prepare students for interview questions. I think that would have been something that I would have appreciated if I could have it back then. But because during my studies, it was during like the COVID years, so I wasn't able to get too much of those like in-person job fairs.
I think IT skills are definitely some of the hard skills that graduate needs, because I think most jobs require you to use the computer for different things, like ranging from designing work or using spreadsheet or like really general stuff like writing emails and replying to other people. I think these are all skills that you need. And as for soft skills, I think it's like as I've mentioned, it's like communication and maybe like being amiable, so people will be more likely to approach you or to be willing to work with you.
I definitely was one of the fast learners, so I could pick up things easily, but it was also a little bit of a struggle because there's definitely a gap between what I learned in university and also what I was expected to do at my job. But after a few months getting used to the workplace, knowing the culture and the people better, I think I eventually got the hang of it.
Well, I think in the first place, since I've never worked in any internship before, so the transition is a bit harder because I don't really know what I need to do in the workplace. But since my seniors are quite good to me, so they will explain a lot of stuff to me. And so after working for a few months, I think I get the grasp of it and it's much easier nowadays.
So for graduates, my workplace expects people to have a really strong learning attitude. So they would prefer people who are very interested in learning about what we do at the company, so on and so forth. That's also how we screen our new candidates and associates. So I think that's something that most workplaces would expect from a fresh graduate, because they know that fresh graduates, they don't have experience. So I think most companies, they would be more lenient on fresh grads' abilities. I think the hardest would be learning how different it is from what I'm taught at school. So for fresh graduates, usually the task is very executional heavy. It will require a lot of learning. So it would be like a steep learning curve that is not something that you can learn from school. In school, you might have a case study that the professor will teach you about, and you'll learn about all those big terminologies. But when you go to work, there isn't such a thing. Also, they expect you to pick it up fast. So that could be like a little challenge.
I think the easy part is because I'm working at like a university now. So I'm going directly from university to a university. So I don't really need to like learn the new like office environment or anything, but I can just like stay at a university, which is an environment that I'm quite familiar with. I think like perhaps having some workshops might be helpful, because I think like when I first apply for jobs, I don't really know how to write a good CV, or like for the interviews, I'm really quite nervous actually, because I don't really know what they would ask me at a job interview. And so I think if the university could provide some workshop for this, then it would be great. And also maybe work ethics, like how to converse with people at work. I think students can, like if they're graduating from like a broad-based program like me, and I think you can just find jobs that you are interested in, that it would be more fun for you to do in the workplace. Because I think the university life and work life is quite different. Like in university, you have a lot of freedom to do whatever you want, but like at an office, it's quite rigid, like 9 to 5 every day. And so if you have to be stuck at a place that you don't like, then it would be quite boring. So yeah, I would advise students to find something they really want to try.
My advice would be to just keep looking for jobs. The economy might be a little tough right now, but I think it's good to like don't give up and just keep applying, because you can apply to 100 jobs and you might only get interviews at 3 to 4. So it takes a lot of resilience to keep looking for jobs. But I think, and I trust, that all the graduates will be able to find a place that, you know, they like and also is decent.